Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we have our final skill tree talent dive, which is for the also trusty Veteran Sharpshooter, which was my most used class before the patch update, so I'm excited to see if this skill tree will enable me to do the same, but from what I've heard, it's not doing great. So following this video, where I will go through the entirety of the skill tree, I'll be sure to be making some lovely veteran builds for you to try out, and hopefully they'll be overpowered enough to, hopefully, to use in Auric, Damnation and Maelstrom. But we will see. Subscribe to stay tuned for those build videos. Now, without further ado, let's just jump right into the skill tree dive. Yeah, it's a bit sad that these ones don't have keystones at the bottom. I don't really understand where the thought process was with that. I do remember when they mentioned, oh, you can mix and match these builds, and then with the veterans, once you get down here, you can't mix and match. It's you pick a line and you stick to it. Reject. yeah, sure, you can mix and match a little bit up here, but yeah, once you get down here, there's a lot of skills that you're gonna have to go into after that point if you want to get down to the ability modifiers at the bottom. Yeah, it's a bit lame, but we'll just have to deal with it for now. Maybe changes will come in the future, maybe they won't. We'll have to wait and see. So I think I'm going to go down the right hand side, since that is the newest stuff, and the left hand side has the oldest stuff. So we'll save that bit for last, so I can cry if it's changed for the worse, but we shall see, we shall see. Okay, we've got Vanguard, which gives us a minus 20% sprinting cost. Yeah, that's okay if you're running around a lot. I suppose it'll help you get closer to enemies without running out of sprinting stamina, so that's okay. And I believe this is going to be the melee-focused side, so not too bad to get close to the enemy. We've got Exploit Weakness, where critical hits apply 2.5% rending to the target, which stacks 16 times and lasts 5 seconds. Quick maths, 2.5 times 16 is 40% rending to the target. And with rending buffs, it could actually do very good, but that's only if this tree allows you to stack critical hits, which we shall see the further down the line we get, I suppose. So, it's good, but it's reliant on this skill tree giving us a lot of critical hits, so we'll see if it's good at the end. And we've got Tactical Reload, where 20% reload speed if your weapon contains ammo. This was one of the buffs before, and it was integral to keeping the old volley fire working up very, very nicely. So, you know, we'll see in the end if that's still integral, but that's a really good buff to have. It just helps you reload weapons really quickly. Always a nice buff to have. And we've got Smoke Grenade, which is our first new blitz. Throw a grenade that creates a lingering smoke cloud for 10 seconds. The cloud blocks line of sight for most enemies and reduces the sight range of enemies inside it. Okay, so that means that we should be nice and invisible, right? So, if I spawn a little rifleman, he'll see me. Will he shoot me? There he is. Ow, ow, ow. Go on, shoot me one more time. Oh, he's repositioning. Tactical. And if I drop this smoke grenade, he should supposedly no longer be able to see me. If you reposition and attack me, I'm going to be very disappointed. He's just running away. He can't see me anymore. Where's he going? Oh, I think the smoke grenade's ended. Yeah, it's okay if you got yourself in a bit of a pickle. As far as the support abilities go, it's... Oh, the effect is really nice, though. As far as the support blitzes go, it's probably not the most amazing. And as you can see, he's not shooting me anymore because he can't see me, and now he's running away. So, it's okay, but not amazing, I would say. Let me know if you disagree with that judgment down below, but, you know, I've not tried it in the missions, so it could be amazing. I suppose I shall reserve judgment until I get into a game with it. For now, let's just move on. We've got Melee Damage Boost, which gives us a 5% melee damage boost, not too shabby at all, before moving on to Twinned Blast, where we get a 10% chance to throw an additional grenade, which still consumes only a single grenade. Well, that's pretty handy, isn't it? Should we just give it a shot? Why not? Let's do it. So, we've got a 10% chance to throw 2. Obviously, it's going to take us a little while to get 2 of them out there. 1 in 10 of these gives us 2. What's that, like 4 now? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19. Did I select the ability? I did. So we're on 18. Oh my goodness, we did it! Oh well, that was I stopped counting after 21. I think it must have been like 30 odd. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think just based off the experience I've literally just had, twinned blast is just a no-go. It's just not worth it. Yeah, you know how long it takes in a match to throw 30 grenades? It takes a long damn time. Obviously, it's based on luck. It's a 10% chance, but it's just taken me 30 to get 2 of them. So I'm gonna miss that one, I'm afraid. Straight dodge. Parallel to that, we have Out of Blood, where your kills replenish an additional 2.5% toughness. Yeah, not too bad at all, especially if you're running in and killing lots of chafe with your melee weapons. And then we have our first aura, Close and Kill. Plus 5% movement speed for your and allies incoherency. Just a grammatical error there, and there seems to be many of those. They should at least... I could understand if English isn't someone's first language, but I'm sure they're a company that can hire someone whose first language is English to just proofread the stuff that they do. And it's just eliminate these tiny things like this. It's not the end of the world. But when you're reading it, you just kind of have like a Pepega moment for 2 seconds. And then you're like, oh, the grammar's wrong. So it's plus 5% movement speed for you and allies incoherency, which is a decent enough buff, nothing amazing. It just helps everyone run a bit faster. I think for Zealots, this could help them charge around even more insanely, which could be quite a funny interaction. Then we have 5% critical hit chance, so we are finally stacking a little bit of critical hits for our exploit weakness, before getting Grenadier, where we can carry an extra 1 grenade. Not too bad. It means you're going to be able to throw more, and, I mean, it's going to give you a tiny bit better chance to get Twinned Blast. Not amazing, I would say, but it's there, I guess. And parallel to that, we have Leave No One Behind, where we get plus 20% assist speed and revive speed. Assist speed, for anyone who doesn't know, is when your teammate gets netted by a trapper. And then we get plus 20% move speed when moving towards a knockdown or incapacitated ally. Whenever you revive a knocked down ally, they receive plus 33% damage reduction for 5 seconds. So this is quite a good assisting ability. It's entirely contingent on you being able to get to the ally and reviving them. Otherwise, it's almost a little bit pointless, but it is pretty decent, especially if you're running around in the battlefield, and you'll be able to charge to your allies a lot sooner, drop one of your grenades, and then get them up 20% faster as well, which is it's pretty decent, I suppose. But nothing's blown my mind in this skill tree yet, but we shall see as we have our first ability, Infiltrate. Now, for the Zealot, I doubted invisibility before I'd used it, and then I used it and realized how crazy it is, so I won't be doing that here, we'll just judge it as we go. You replenish all toughness and enter stealth for 6 seconds, getting 25% movement speed. Leaving stealth suppresses nearby enemies, and attacking makes you leave stealth. And the cooldown is 60 seconds. Okay, so nothing crazy right now, but we have 4 modifiers for it, which we can select all of. So we'll go from left to right, shall we? Starting with low profile, where we get minus 70% threat for 10 seconds on leaving stealth. Not bad, that means a lot of things just aren't going to target you at all. So you could just start killing stuff for free, which could be quite good. We'll have to see. We've got Hunter's Resolved, which provides plus 50% toughness damage reduction on 10 seconds for leaving stealth. I suppose if no one's shooting you, would you need the damage reduction? Maybe not, so maybe you'd pick one or the other of these two. And we've got Surprise Attack, where it now gains plus 30% damage for 5 seconds when leaving stealth. So we have a little damage buff, which is our first damage buff here, and it's only 30% on the ultimate. It doesn't sound like it's going to surprise that many enemies at all, but we'll try it out. And then we have Overwatch, where we get another charge, but plus 33% cooldown on the ability, which sounds like an overall buff, so you may as well go for this to get the extra charge. You're just going to wait an extra 10, 11 seconds, maybe something like that, so it'll be a minute and 11 something, I think. Yeah, maths? Something like that. It's around there. Right, and since we can, we'll just pick all of these, and then we'll jump in, and yeah, we'll just pop it and see what happens. Oh, so it's like you get like a little night vision kind of vibe from it. And I'm out now, and now I get 30% extra damage. which is very, very nice. And that's already gone, but I've got the damage reduction and threat reduction. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced by this ability. We'll try it one more time with enemies. Okay, we're back. I've spawned us a nice squad of riflemen who hopefully won't shoot us anywhere near as much once we come out. And we'll get that damage reduction as well. And we'll see... Well, we'll attack one of them first. This, I think we'll do a 2-shot. There it goes. Maybe a 2-shot on him as well. We'll see if it can 1-shot them after the damage buff. Right. And here we go. So they're shooting me now, and now I'm in invisibility. We got our toughness regeneration. They can't see me. But then it's all about whether all of them, yeah, every single one of them turns. But I suppose it's threat, so if it's still 2 shots. If your teammates are there, then they're going to shoot the teammates instead, supposedly. But, I mean, the damage buff is pretty bad. The damage reduction doesn't seem to be that amazing, especially if you're using stealth and you're in the fray. Minus 90% threat for 9 seconds. They all shot me, but I was the only target, so I'll have to wait to see if I get that in a match and it feels good. And here it is nice having a +1, but overall, Infiltrate for me, it's not very good, is it? Let me know if you disagree. There's a lot of disagreements possibly here. Drop your comments down below. And we shall move on with this tree, shall we? Get a +5% suppression dealt bonus. Not too bad. And then we got duck and dive, where we get +30% stamina on avoiding ranged attacks by dodging, sprinting, or sliding. Yep, that'll keep our stamina up, especially if you're a melee-focused veteran. You're dodging, sprinting, and sliding all the time, so if you're dodging ranged attacks doing that, then you'll get a little stamina boost, which will be very nice for blocking and also running more. And we move on to Reciprocity, where we get +5% critical hit chance for 8 seconds on a successful dodge, which stacks 5 times, which will be a maximum of 25% crit hit chance. So we're finally stacking a little bit more crit hit chance on an actual passive node now. That brings our current potential up to, I believe, 30%, which isn't too bad. But that's if we've dodged all of these attacks multiple times. So if you're in the fray, dodging attacks a lot, you're going to be stacking that crit hit chance, which is pretty decent. And we have, parallel to that, Agile Engagement, where we get +25% damage to your other weapon for 5 seconds on enemy kill, which suggests you should be switching in and out of weapons a lot during combat. So this could work well if you're melee focused. It could work well with shotguns, auto guns, just anything that's really effective in close range. So I think that's pretty much everything, really, except maybe the bolt gun because it takes a long time to draw. Yeah, it could be pretty decent. It's not blowing me away, but it could be pretty good. It's +25% damage, which is pretty large, but you do have to switch your weapons a lot. And then we've got just a stamina regeneration boost, where our stamina regeneration delay is reduced by 0.25 seconds. So we're getting a little bit more stamina buffs there. And then we have Serrated Blade, where we get 1 stack of bleed to the target on melee hit. So bleed's quite strong right now, so it's not too bad. You can start stacking up bleed on enemies. And we'll just have a look and see just how much this does to the enemies, shall we? We'll go for a big target, shall we? Here we go. 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, 4 hit, 5 hit, 6 hit. And we should see those ticking down. Did they do more if you use a heavy attack? 3. Or is that because I hit... Wait, hold up. Hold up. 3! No. Okay, the more you hit them, the higher damage it does, but this is... this isn't very good, is it? I mean... By the time the bleeds even manage to do anything, the target's dead. In most cases. Yeah, this absolute rubbish. That's pants. It doesn't stack bleed fast enough to have a real effect. So, Serrated Blade, for me at least, is a dud. Don't pick it, it's pants. We've got Onslaught, where continuous hits to a single target applies 2.5% rending for 5 seconds to the target, which also stacks 16 times, which is another 40% rending. We got crit hits, and we got attacking the same target, so we got a potential 80% rending there, which isn't a scuffer. That's a lot of rending, so you're going to do a lot of damage to armored targets if you have enough critical hit chance to stack the other rending as well. Pretty good. And we've just got plus 15 toughness, as well as plus 5% range damage and plus 5% melee damage. And below these, with our next nodes, Desperado, plus 10% melee critical hit chance and 25% melee finesse bonus. So we've got a flat crit hit chance here, which is very, very nice for us, which means we're stacking those critical hits. In turn, making exploit weakness a viable thing to pick now, so it is becoming more viable to do that. And we have Skirmisher, where we get plus 5% to all base damage for 5 seconds after sprinting, which stacks 3 times. So does that mean that you have to sprint to gain the stacks you do? You have to sprint for about 4 seconds to gain max stacks, but then you get an extra 15% damage, which is okay. You're going to be running around to get into melee combat a lot. But it doesn't work while sliding, so that's an interesting thing to make sure of. If you slide into dodge or just slide in to conserve stamina on the way to your victims, you're not going to gain stacks, which in my opinion is pretty bad. There's a lot of bad on this side. Hopefully it gets better going down to the left, but we shall see. The next passive is Trench Fighter Drill, where we get plus 15% melee attack speed, which is nice because beforehand only the Zealot got attack speed bonuses, so it's nice to see that the Veterans got some. And we have a big plus 25 toughness, not too shabby at all, before landing on our final modifier, Close Quarters Kill Zone, where we get plus 30% close damage for 10 seconds on combat ability use. When using Infiltrate, this begins on leaving stealth. Okay, so we actually can't select an entire tree. Oh dear. Well, wow, okay. Well, we didn't like that, so we get rid of that. Bloody hell, you can't select it. Yeah, okay, I mean, whatever. So we get plus 30% damage there, and we also get the plus 30% damage there, so that's now plus 60% damage, which sounds decent, but you have to be close to the enemy, so not too bad, I guess. But so far, I can't lie, the veteran skill tree is entirely underwhelming to me. Nothing here is very special, and a melee-focused veteran feels like a weaker zealot to me. Does it feel like that to you? Because it feels like that to me. Well, for now, we shall move on. I'm sure to try these things in the match in the future, but we will press E, reset all of our progress, and start to progress down the middle, where we have Close Order Drill, which is up to 33% toughness damage reduction, the more allies incoherency, and already we have something that is miles better than anything we've seen before, at least on the other tree. And it's massive damage reduction. You stick with your team, you're getting a third less damage to your toughness. A third. That is huge. And that's only one toughness damage reduction. So that's probably key to go for, no matter which line you go down, to be honest. But we'll move on before ranting on about that. You got Charismatic, where we get plus 50% aura radius, so that's just going to help you stay in coherency. It's not too bad. If you want to stick with your team easier, then you could go for it, but yeah, probably give it a miss. It's decent, but I wouldn't say it's absolutely integral to your build. We've got Demolition Team, where you and allies in coherency have a 5% chance to replenish a grenade on elite or specialist kill. So this was an ability before the update, and it's a decent one to have. Just means you're going to keep stacking grenades throughout the mission, especially on high intensity shock troop gauntlet or specialist waves modifiers. So it's going to keep stacking that percent chance, and I know we had a 10% chance to throw an additional grenade. But we're killing a lot more elites and specialists in a match than we can throw grenades. The actual chance of you getting this grenade back is much higher. Simply due to the sheer amount of specialists and elites this game throws at you. This is a good pick. And we have our next blitz, which is something I've heard a lot of. I've seen it in the game, and I'm excited to try it. The Krak Grenade. Throw a grenade that deals devastating damage. Sticks to flak armoured, carapace armoured, and unyielding enemies. I've heard a lot about this destroying monstrosities. Let's try it out. We'll throw out all of the Ogren enemies and see what the base damages are. But obviously we have... oh, Grenade Tinkerer. Plus 50% damage. Okay, we're going to look at our 5% health boost before picking Grenade Tinkerer, where we improve the grenade, where it gets plus 50% damage. The Frag Grenade, which we haven't looked at yet, does plus 25% damage and radius, and the Smoke Grenade gets a plus 50% duration. Lovely stuff. That's a lot of damage for the Krak Grenade. Give this a try then. Sticks to Carapace. Let's throw it on his head just in case it does more damage. Okay, and we'll try the Reaper, which I'm sure is going to destroy him. Oh my god. Wow, that is going to obliterate all of these enemies then, surely. Oh no. It tickled the Rager. Okay. It's going to kill that Rager, surely. Surely. Okay, yeah. So it kills them if it sticks to them, tickles them if it doesn't. We'll drop it just on the floor in between all the specialists, see what happens. Did that just kill the mutant in one hit? No, there's no way. Hold up. I think it was already damaged. What? Okay, well, it kills mutants in one hit as well. Even if you don't stick them. Not too bad. And then we got Maulers, which are also an instant kill. We've got Gunners, which are... Oh my... Hold up. That just... Did you... I threw it at the unarmored one, and it... And it, like the snitch from Quidditch, just whizzed over to the Mauler. Interesting interaction there. Just let me try that again. What is that? Why are you not letting me... That's going to be a ball ache for targeting if you want to hit something that's behind. Oh, wow, right, okay. Oh, that's funny. Maybe it's because it likes to go for flak on carapace armored things. That's a really weird interaction. Yeah, we'll just give ourselves a lovely Plague Ogre, shall we? Let's stick it to his face. Okay, that's quite a respectable amount of damage to monstrosities. Not too bad at all. So the Krak Grenade turned out to be pretty decent. One-shots all carapace and flak armored enemies if you stick it to them. One-shots mutants, you can't stick it to mutants, but it kills them in one hit, and it does a decent amount of damage to everything else. So, good stuff. We've got Covering Fire. When you kill an enemy with a ranged attack, allies within 5 meters of the target replenish 15% toughness and receive plus 10% to all base damage for 3 seconds. So it's decent enough if you have lots of zealots on your team or people that are running in with melee and you can shoot enemies that they're around. You'll give them a little buff while they're at it. I'm sure they won't cry at you for stealing all the kills so you can buff them, but... Yeah, we'll move on to Fire Team, our next aura, where we get plus 3% damage for you and allies in coherency. Now, as far as auras go, this is probably the worst thing I've ever seen. 3% damage. 3% damage. Even this gives you 5% movement speed. Movement speed's not amazing. 3% damage. Is that it? 3%. We're not even going to notice that. That's not going to do anything revolutionary for any of the damage that the team's going to be doing. 3%. Come on. I know you didn't... Like, then Veteran... I know the Veteran's been nerfed, but has it been this bad? 3% damage. Okay. Well, move on, shall we? Not too pleased. And we've got 5% toughness damage reduction. Yeah, not too bad. Before getting Field Improvisation, where ammo crates also restore grenades, medipacks heal 100% faster, cleanse corruption and replenish 1% toughness per second. That's actually a pretty decent support passive. Being able to cleanse corruption is probably pretty huge. I wonder if that works for grimoires. I wonder if that works for wounds. It probably doesn't work for wounds. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now we've got Demolition Stockpile, where we replenish 1 grenade every 60 seconds. So this was something beforehand, and that just keeps you being able to throw grenades a lot. It was never something I chose very often, because I kind of relied on my weapons to do most of the work for me, rather than relying on grenades, because you can shoot your weapons a lot more than you can throw grenades, even with this ability. But it's decent to have, as it means on an average match, you probably get around 25 grenades in the match. Which, as you'll 25 grenades, just to let you know, isn't quite the 30 that we needed to proc that. Where is it? To proc, it's there. To proc Twinned Blast, it took us 30 throws, thereabouts. And the average match, I'd probably say, is 25 minutes. It might be a bit longer. Yeah. Anyway. Our next combat ability is Voice of Command, where you replenish your toughness and staggers all enemies within 9 meters. The base cooldown is 45 seconds. This doesn't sound amazing, does it? Off the face of it, I'm not going into this. I'm not going into this overwhelmed with excitement. I'm more whelmed, really. Let's hope these modifiers buff it up. We've got Duty and Honor, where it now provides you and allies a coherency with plus 50% toughness for 10 seconds. This can exceed your maximum toughness, so it gives all the people around us a bit of toughness, which isn't too bad. And then only in death does Duty end. So Voice of Command revives knockdown allies within radius, but also reduces that radius by 33% and increases your ability cooldown by 33%. It can revive allies instantly, it sounds like, but it reduces the area of the effect, and it also increases the cooldown. It's okay. It's not great, is it? I mean, yeah, you can revive allies instantly. That's a really, really good utility. And that's probably the only good thing it does. Yeah, it replenishes your toughness. Great. It staggers enemy. I mean, it's not amazing, is it? And that's going to increase the cooldown to a minute. And we'll push some enemies. Push Rodar, and then they get back. Yeah, it's... As you can see, we've got plus 50 toughness there, and it's now gone. The disappointment continues in the veteran tree. This was my most used class before. As it stands, it's not going to continue being my most used class, but hopefully, you know, the rest of the tree revives it, or the left-hand side brings it back. We'll see. We've got a +1 stamina boost before getting tactical awareness, where our combat ability cooldown is reduced for 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. That's pretty decent. In high intensity shock troop gauntlet, you're going to be seeing a lot of specialists, which means you're going to be getting a lot of cooldown reduction. So that'll help that 60% on voice of command, which I suppose would help because, you know, I mean, the only real good thing about this was being able to revive allies very quickly. So, it's yet to be seen whether this is a good ability for me. I'll have to use it in a match to see. And we have Bring It Down, where we get plus 25% damage to Ogrins and Monstrosities. So we did have this baked into the old feats, but they've nerfed it and made it a passive node, but it was plus 75% before, which was insane. So it's not too bad to get a plus 25% damage to Ogrins and Monstrosities at all. And we have Superiority Complex, where we get plus 10% base damage to elite enemies. Funnily enough, Ogrins are elite enemies as well, so that's a nice little stacking bonus to them. Plus 33% damage to those, which isn't bad. I like that. Good, we've got some damage buffs finally, some stacking damage bonuses. How long's it taken us? This tree is frustrating. We got 10% health bonus and a 15% toughness bonus before hitting Iron Will, where we get 50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. Okay, that's pretty decent. It means the first hits on you, they're going to do a lot less damage. Good stuff. We got a bit of damage reduction. Obviously, it's down this tree, so you kind of have to commit to this side. And, you know, these are the only things in here that have been revolutionarily decent for me. So, I can't imagine I'm going to get down this far on this tree. We shall see in due time when I try out builds. Parallel to that, we have Confirmed Kill, where we replenish 25% toughness on elite or specialist enemy kill and a further 25% toughness over 10 seconds. This was also baked into the passive bonuses beforehand, and it was massive before, so I assume it's going to be massive here. It's very, very good. You're just going to be stacking toughness. Awesome. Inspiring Presence, which is a node, so that's pretty decent. It's got a name. Plus 10% toughness replenishment for you and allies in coherency. That's actually very powerful. Good stuff. For the team, that's a plus 40% overall for the team. Very, very good. We've got Competitive Urge, a 2.5% chance of 20% base damage, 20% melee impact, and 20% suppression for 8 seconds whenever an ally kills an enemy. Okay, so we're going to constantly have this on higher difficulties. I assume it's only 2.5% chance, so we're really stacking these low percentiles here. But, you know, there's over 3,000 enemies on the highest difficulty, so surely we get this often. We'll see when I get it into the game, but yeah, surely we do. That would increase our damage a lot, and that would be good. And we have Born Leader, where allies in coherency replenish 15% of any toughness that you replenish. That's actually quite powerful. If you're a squad leader and you're killing things, you're going to keep replenishing toughness for the team. Not too bad at all. Yeah, I think that the theme here is that the veteran doesn't do a lot of damage, apart from these nodes. And maybe this one. This gives Rending strikes, plus 15% rending to all weapons. Pretty decent. And we've got a 15% toughness boost before getting our penultimate ability modifier. For the Emperor! Lovely. A beautiful quote in the 40k universe. Your combat ability gives you and allies coherency, plus 20% melee base damage, and plus 20% ranged base damage for 5 seconds. We're buffing all of the team's damage for 5 seconds. It's okay. It's a good whack of damage for the team, but it's not very long, is it? 5 seconds. It's going to be quite a pinch moment to utilize that effectively. I am underwhelmed so far. But that brings us to the end of the second. What did they call it in the patch notes? Udder? Something like that. Yeah, let's press E. Reset all. And hopefully, this side will revitalize my love for the veteran, because right now, I'm not using this class except to try builds for you. Okay, we've got long shot, where we deal up to 20% ranged base damage, which the bonus is reduced the nearer the target. This was something we had before. It was called Sniper, but they've changed the name. Good stuff, extra damage based on how far they are. If you're a vet, I like to shoot things, because that's what the veteran's for, and you don't want to be up close when you're shooting things with a certain amount of weapons. So good stuff. We've got damage on the first node. I like it. Keep their heads down, where we get plus 25% ranged attack suppression. This isn't good. I just thought I'd let you know. Sure, you'll suppress the enemies, but you know what they'll do when you suppress them? They'll duck, run away, and get behind cover, and when they do that, you can't kill them. So, I'ma just skip on past that one and ignore it to Volley Adept, where you know what, in the patch notes they said, oh yeah, we're going to focus on suppression. It's going to be great. It's not going to be great. Suppression's awful. You don't want to suppress at range, because they're just going to... yeah, stupid. Anyway, Volley Adept, where we get plus 30% reload speed on elite and specialist enemy kill. Okay, this was baked in before, as I imagine a lot of things on this side are. This is very, very good, and it's going to keep our ultimate ability up a lot more, because I know that the ultimate ability on this side's Volley Fire. I can't remember what they've called it, but I'm sure we'll get there. Before moving on to our final blitz, the Shredder Frag Grenade. Throw a frag grenade that explodes after a short delay. It applies 6 stacks of bleed to all enemies hit, causing damage over time. This is an augmented version of Frag Grenade. So Frag Grenade before did pathetic, pitiful damage, so I hope it does something decent this time. Should we buff it and use it with the buff? Or should we avoid it just in case we don't pick it with the buff? We'll check it out unbuffed. So, Frag Grenade, on it goes, hit it on the body, and boom. And the bleed is pretty pathetic, to be honest. Throw at the sniper, get it in the middle of the crowd. Let's see all the bleed stacks. It's just not really that good, is it? Into a horde. It's the horde. It seems to do okay, but that's because they have like no HP. I don't think you want to use it in a horde. Maulers? Yeah. No. To unarmored it did decent damage. But this grenade is pants. You just want to use this, you run into an ally who's down, you drop it on the ally, you're reviving him. That's the only time this grenade is useful. For damage, pathetic. I'm sure you can augment it with a plus 25% damage boost and give it an extra radius, but nah, it's bit pants to me, this one. Bit pants. We'll move on. But we get plus 5% range damage, good stuff, we're stacking more damage, and we get back in the fight. Stun immunity, slow immunity for 6 seconds. I mean, this isn't the end of the world, it's not a massive thing, but please, just give us some grammar. This doesn't read well. Stun immunity, slow immunity for 6 seconds, and restore. Like, I don't know, that doesn't read nicely. Stun immunity and slow immunity for 6 seconds, and restore 50% stamina when your toughness is broken. Okay, so when your toughness is broken, you get stun, slow, immunity, and you restore stamina. It's okay. I'm probably going to ignore this passive, so we'll just check out the other side, where we get Catch a Breath, which is replenish 5% toughness per second when there are no enemies within 8 meters. I'm probably going to choose this side, ignore this one, because we want to be shooting things from a distance. At least I do when I'm playing a veteran, because I like to shoot things from a distance. So I'll constantly be getting that toughness regeneration, which is decent enough. before picking our final aura, Survivalist, where we replenish 1% ammo for you and allies in coherency whenever any of you kill an elite or specialist enemy. This is an augmented version of Scavenger, and sadly it's a nerfed version of Scavenger. It's going to give you less ammo, but it still is very, very good on the higher difficulties where you're seeing a lot of elite or specialist enemies. On Shock Troop Gauntlet, Auric, High Intensity, Maelstrom, all of those things, Survivalist is going to be amazing. On lower difficulties, such as Unmodified Damnation and below, it's going to give you a little bit of an extra buff, but it's not going to be life-changing. But on the higher difficulties, massive, massive, massive. Even with the nerf. I like it. We've got 5% reload speed, which is also very nice. Going to keep us in combat a lot more. Before moving on to Kill Zone, where we get plus 15% based range damage when there are no enemies within 8 meters. So that's going to stack with the toughness one. Very, very nice. We're getting more damage here. So as you can see, we're stacking more damage slowly but surely. I'm liking what I'm seeing. And we've got Opening Salvo. The first 10% ammo after a reload has 10% ranged critical hit chance. 10% ammo after a reload has 10%? Nah, I'm skipping past this one. It's not amazing. It's okay. But nah. Moving on to Executioner's Stance, which is volley fire. It's called Executioner's Stance. Good stuff. Enter ranged stance for 5 seconds. When in ranged stance, you instantly equip your ranged weapon, deal plus 25% range damage, plus 25% ranged weak spot damage, and your spread and recoil are greatly reduced. Elite enemies and specialist enemies are highlighted for 5 seconds, and it has a 25 seconds base cooldown. Oh my lord. That's fruity. That's so little. Okay, I'm excited for the first time. We could have some good builds in the veteran. They're bloody better be. Okay, let's see what we're augmenting it with. Enhanced target priority. Executioner's Stance now outlines elite and specialist enemies for allies in coherency for 5 seconds. Yeah, no. I'm just going to let my teammates' awareness, act for itself. I'm not picking this because I want more damage. I'm selfish. I'm buffing myself over that. So I will select it for the memes just because it's the skill tree build. We'll select these ones as well. In fact, you know what? No, I was so averse these pathetic things that I'm just not going to pick them. But that one, I'll select the memes. We've got Relentless, where killing an enemy outlined by Executioner's Stance refreshes the duration of its bonuses for 5 seconds. Good stuff. That means we can keep the ability on, which is good. You know what? I'm going to get rid of this, and we'll see how many ability points I have spare by the end of this tree. And we've got Counterfire, where Executioner's Stance now outlines all ranged enemies. Yay! So we've kept Counterfire. It doesn't do extra damage, but it highlighting all of them. Good stuff. These are the picks I would go with. Obviously, there's one at the bottom here, which we've not checked out yet. But I'd ignore Enhanced Target Priority. Yeah, sure, it helps your team for a few seconds, but just rely on their general awareness in the game and buff your damage more. It's going to be more worth it in the long run. So, yep, you come out here and things are still bleeding. So this is going to highlight specialist enemies, and it's going to keep it online for all of these specialist enemies that we're killing. And as we can see, we're doing a decent whack of damage. Got some ranged enemies knocking about. That will refresh your volley fire, or Executioner's Stance as it's called now, which is beautiful stuff. Look at that. We've stayed in volley fire the entire time. And it's doing so much damage, and we've not even augmented our damage properly inside the tree yet. The veteran still lives. I'm so happy. Okay, let's just continue. This is great. Thank goodness for an actual good segment of this skill tree. We got plus 5% more range damage, so we got 10% now overall. Yep, good. Before picking up plus 5% reload speed, which is awesome, and plus 5% more range damage. Oh, okay. I'm excited now. I'm building excitement. This is good stuff. Good stuff! We've got Exhilarating Takedown, where we replenish 15% toughness and gain 10% toughness damage reduction for 8 seconds on ranged weak swap kill, which stacks 3 times. So we had this before. Absolutely beautiful. You want to pick this. It's going to keep you alive, and it's going to keep you healthy with toughness. And we've got Deadshot, where you get plus 25% critical chance and plus 60% sway reduction while using your ranged weapon's alternate fire. but you lose 8% stamina per second and an additional 4% per shot. I know there was many people who enjoyed Deadshot for lots of different specific builds, but for me, it's not something I usually picked. I don't really like this one at all, so I'm going to avoid that and move on to toughness damage reduction. Very nice. I'm going to keep stacking that toughness damage reduction. Precision strikes is plus 15% weak spot damage. Yep, more damage. Give it to me, please. Shock Trooper, where critical hits with las weapons consume no ammo. It's okay. This would be very good for recon las guns, because they crit a lot and they also shoot really quickly. So that's going to increase their ammo economy quite healthily. So if you're using a recon las gun, go with Shock Trooper. It's going to help a lot. If you're using the other las guns, maybe give this one a skip. We've got plus 15% toughness before moving on to Determined, where we gain suppression immunity. If you have Ghost on your las guns, it's now obsolete. So don't put the Ghost Blessing on your las guns if you're going with Determined, or down the left hand side in general, as it's going to make them useless. That's just going to be a dud blessing. We've got plus 10% toughness damage reduction. Amazing, we're stacking that damage reduction. Plus 0.25% stamina regeneration delay reduction. I'll probably give that one a miss. And then we've got plus 25% ammo. Good stuff. We want more ammunition. We're a veteran. I want to shoot things. And then we move on to plus 15% toughness. And our final ability modifier, please be good, 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 is Marksman. On ability use for 10 seconds, any weak spot hits gain plus 50% power. 50% power! That's massive damage. It is only for 10 seconds, so you'll have to come out of Executioner's Stance, which we can keep up indefinitely depending on how many enemies are in the firefight, to get this again. But that is huge, so we'll try that on a high and a health enemy. Oh wow, this is going to one-shot everything. That's not even highlighted. Yeah, it's 3 shots. It takes it down to 2. Woo-hoo-hoo! Oh, this is good stuff. Wow. Yes. That brings us to the end of the talent tree dive. And as you may have heard throughout this video, is my extreme disappointment slowly building to excitement as we got to the left, finally, and it built down into greatness. And funnily enough, I think it's landed on exactly what I would pick from the left, which leaves us with 7 entire points. So what I'm going to do is, because I was worried about the bolt gun and the plasma gun being terrible after this, I think I can see that the las gun is pretty decent. So what I will do is I'll go get that toughness damage reduction, and we shall move over, pick up the tactical awareness and the damage buffs here. And we may grab Demolition Team, I'm not really sure. Let's see what else we've got. What could we potentially pick up? So we've only got 2, so we can only get down to there. We could get Duck and Dive. No, we're going to avoid Duck and Dive. We could pick up any of these, so we could get grenades every 60 seconds, or we could heal. And we could also get any of these 2, so we could buff our teammates or improve grenades. Ah, I found it. We want Tactical Reload. I'm going to Tactical Reload. That's the tree. Now, we want to just try. I'm going to try the bolt gun. I'll save the plasma gun for a video. And we'll also, to be honest, we'll also use the bolt gun in a video as well. But, you know, it's nice to try them out. So I've spawned myself a lovely grueling looking Plague Ogre, and we'll just see how much damage this does to his face. Well, does half. I have a short, right? Do you need a bolt gun for monstrous specials? That is talking about weakened monstrosities, okay? And it says, oh, but weakened monstrosities are so pathetic. The bolt gun's never going to do this much damage to normal ones. Have you seen it's done more than half HP? And that's me with 1 Executioner's Stance, 1 clip. This gives you a reduced recoil and sway when you use that ability, which means hitting heads is going to be so easy. It's done over half, and I've shot it with 1 clip, without another 3 players on my team. So all of you people who said the bolt gun's never going to do that when it's not weakened, get wrecked. It absolutely destroys them. Then obviously it's going to be a little bit less damage and a lot harder to hit when you've not got volley fire up. Then we can just activate it again, and oh my god, it's dead. Good stuff. And just for, you know, testing purposes, we'll try it on a Beast of Nurgle. You're going to get behind him because you know you're a pro player that can position very well. Activate the ability. And just like the Plague Ogre, we're doing just over half. 1 clip, 1 player, So this isn't a team of 4, it's just me. You can't tell me that that is a very, very effective weapon. Good stuff. That brings us to the end of the talent tree dive with the veteran. I'll be sure to start building a lot of builds for you, which will come out in the coming days, because I love the veteran, and I love the plasma gun, the bolt gun, the las gun. This is my favourite class to use. Maybe the Psyker kind of like competes with that a lot sometimes, but... And the Ogren now, to be honest, these days. Check out my Demolition Expert Ogren build if you haven't already. Anyway, yeah. Upcoming builds coming for the veteran very soon, so drop a subscribe if you want to stay tuned for those, and yeah, I shall see you in the next video. Goodbye.